Danielle Spencer, whose name became etched into the hearts of television audiences through her unforgettable role as the sharp-tongued yet lovable Dee Thomas on the classic sitcom What's Happening!, has died at the age of 60. Her passing was confirmed on August 11, 2025, by her former co-star Haywood Nelson, who played the ever-smiling Dwayne Nelson on the ABC series that defined a generation's television landscape. Nelson's message, posted to Instagram, carried both the weight of grief and the tenderness of shared memories. "Brilliance comes in a great many forms," he wrote. "We all have them, and we all have this family's Dr. Danielle Spencer, June 24, 1965 to August 11, 2025. Dr. D, our brilliant, loving, positive, pragmatic warrior without fail, has finally found her release from the clutches of this world in a body." In his words, there was the unmistakable reverence for a woman who had faced hardship with dignity and confronted her mortality with the same quiet bravery she had shown throughout her life. "We celebrate Danielle Spencer and her contributions as we regret to inform her departure and transition from a long battle with cancer," he added. It was more than just the loss of an actress. In Nelson's eyes and in the eyes of her fans, Danielle was a daughter, sister, and friend. She was a dedicated veterinarian who poured her soul into caring for animals. She was an advocate for animal rights, a healer in every sense of the word, and a fighter who endured a series of personal and physical trials that would have broken many others. "We have lost a daughter, sister, family member. What's happening? Cast member, veterinarian, animal rights proponent and healer, and cancer heroine. Our Shiro. Danielle is loved. She will be missed in this form and forever embraced." While her cause of death has not been officially disclosed, it is known that she had been in a prolonged battle with cancer, a fight she waged with the same strength and determination that had marked so many other chapters of her life. Fans who grew up watching her as Dee, the sassy little sister whose quick wit and unfiltered honesty provided some of the show's most memorable moments, now found themselves mourning a piece of their own childhoods. Her story was never just about fame. Danielle's life contained both the glittering highs of television success and the shattering lows of personal tragedy. Born on June 24, 1965, she was thrust into the entertainment industry at an early age, surrounded by creativity, hard work, and the often unseen pressures of show business. She was the stepdaughter of actor Tim Pelt, a man who not only became a loving father figure but also a mentor, guiding her through the complexities of the industry. It was he who nurtured her early career and introduced her to the craft that would make her a household name. But fate, in its cruelest form, would intervene. During the second season of What's Happening!, Danielle and her stepfather were traveling along the Pacific Coast Highway in Malibu when tragedy struck. Car accident that followed claimed Pelt's life and left Danielle in a coma that lasted 3 agonizing weeks. She was just a teenager, with the world watching her career blossom, when she was suddenly confronted with the fragility of life. In her 2011 memoir, Through the Fire, Journal of a Child Star, she wrote about the trauma with unflinching honesty. "I didn't even get a chance to say goodbye to my stepfather, Daddy Tim, whom I loved and who taught me show business as a young child in New York," she revealed. For a young girl still finding her place in the world, the loss was devastating. Beyond the physical injuries, the emotional wound lingered, shaping her perspective on life and the value of every fleeting moment. The accident also marked a turning point in her relationship with fame. While she continued her role on What's Happening!, the lightheartedness of playing Dee was now tempered by the weight of grief. On screen, she was the embodiment of youthful sass, but off-screen, she was navigating an internal landscape altered forever by loss. It is perhaps this combination, the comedic timing that came naturally and the emotional depth forged by hardship, that made her performance so authentic, so enduring. Her work on What's Happening! Remains an important part of television history. The show, which ran from 1976 to 1979, was one of the few at the time to feature a predominantly Black cast and to tell stories that reflected the humor, challenges, and resilience of everyday life in African American communities. Danielle's Dee Thomas, with her quick comebacks and disarming bluntness, was more than just comic relief. She was a fully realized character in her own right, a young black girl on television who was smart, funny, and unapologetically herself. For young viewers, she was someone to look up to, a mirror in a medium that too often failed to reflect their realities. After the original run of the series, Danielle reprised her role in the follow-up show What's Happening Now, which aired from 1985 to 1988. By this point, she was transitioning into adulthood and facing the same challenges as many child stars, finding an identity outside of the role that had made her famous. While the temptation to remain in Hollywood was there, she chose a path that surprised many, one that demonstrated her depth of character and desire to contribute to the world in a more personal way. She pursued higher education and ultimately became a veterinarian, dedicating her life to the care of animals. In an industry often marked by the pursuit of visibility and applause, Danielle turned toward a career where the rewards came in quieter forms, in the trust of a frightened animal, in the gratitude of a pet owner, in the knowledge that she had used her hands and her heart to heal. For those who knew her, this was entirely in character. She had always been more than the role she played. Her compassion was as real as her comedic talent. In the years that followed, Danielle balanced her veterinary career with occasional appearances that reminded fans of her place in television history. She took part in reunions, interviews, and retrospectives, always gracious in acknowledging the fans who had kept What's Happening alive in their hearts. She also became a vocal advocate for animal welfare, speaking out against abuse and neglect, and working to promote adoption and responsible pet ownership. Her life, however, continued to be marked by health struggles. In addition to her battle with cancer, she faced other medical challenges that tested her resilience. Yet through it all, those close to her describe a woman who remained optimistic, grounded, and fiercely committed to the people and causes she loved. She never saw herself as a victim. Instead, she viewed her trials as part of the journey, obstacles to be met with courage rather than surrender. As news of her passing spread, tributes poured in from fans, colleagues, and those whose lives she had touched both in and out of the spotlight. They remembered her as the quick-witted kid sister whose sharp one-liners still made them laugh decades later, as the compassionate veterinarian who treated their pets like family, and as the friend who always found time to listen, to encourage, to care. For many, the grief is personal. Danielle Spencer was part of their living rooms, their childhoods, their cultural memory. Losing her feels like losing a piece of that past, a reminder that time moves on and that even the brightest lights eventually fade. Yet her legacy remains. It lives on in the laughter she inspired, in the animals she healed, in the example she set of a life defined not by the roles we play but by the love and care we give. Danielle Spencer's story is not just one of fame and tragedy. It is a testament to resilience, to the ability to reinvent oneself, to the quiet power of kindness. Her journey from television star to healer of animals, from the bright lights of Hollywood to the often overlooked but deeply meaningful work of veterinary care, stands as an inspiring example of how one can live fully, authentically, and with purpose. And for those who grew up hearing Dee Thomas's voice calling it exactly as she saw it, there will always be a part of her that lives on, a voice that will never truly be silenced.